Right, we should be live. Let me check. We're live. Yeah, we are. I just got the alert. So we're
Perfect.
on. Just double checking. Yes, we are. We're good. So, all right. So we're just waiting for Paul. So we're gonna wait for people to join us. Uh,
Do you
so we
see
give it
people
a few minutes.
joining from your? Okay.
Can you hear the music, Crystal?
No, I don't hear any music, Claudio.
Okay. I know what's going on, but just
There we go.
yeah.
Little. Hmm.
I think I'm gonna fall asleep with this with this music.
It's kind of staticky.
Staticing. Okay. Yeah, I don't
Yep.
think it's gonna work that well. Is that better? No.
Uh,
I was gonna keep it down. It might be.
oh, now, even when you talk.
Yes. Oh, you
Yeah.
know why? Because I got my phone close to my microphone. That's why.
Uh,
Is that fixed right now? We still having problems?
yeah, it's still glitchy
That's
every time you
interesting.
talk.
Hmm. Uh, how
Too
about
loud
now?
a bit, they said.
Hmm.
Somebody just said it's too loud a bit.
Too loud? Okay.
Uh-huh. We're live.
Is it better now?
Uh-uh.
No?
It's still glitching every time you talk.
Hmm. Is it better now?
Mm-mm.
No?
Can hardly
Yeah.
hear ya, but it's still glitchy as you talk.
Hmm. I don't know what's causing issues over here. We were fine before we went live. That's
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing this stuff. Hmm.
Freezing?
So they say before I start playing with music, everything was fine. So want to start playing with music when we have problems. And is it better still?
It's still
No?
doing it.
I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did.
Did you shut the music all the way off? Like shut that completely off or just turn it down? We're getting there, guys. Hold on with us. And it wouldn't be the internet if we didn't have some technical difficulties. So they're going to come back. And so we will just kind of hang out, okay? Stick with us here.
How about now?
Sounds great. Perfect.
Good. Let me,
Awesome.
yeah. I don't know if it was the sound of the TV or if it was when I checked the channel, I went to YouTube and see we were live. Maybe that was the problem.
Mm. Well, you
Whatever
sound
caused,
great now.
that's great. Yeah. Someone told me, well, it was actually my wife. She messaged me like, before the music, everything was fine. So,
My
yeah,
husband just came in and he's like, "Hey, it's glitchy," and I'm like, "We're working on it." We're.
yeah,
I'm glad your
yeah,
wife and my husband have our backs.
right. Well, I don't know. Paul is having issues connecting. So maybe we just roll until he's
Sure.
able to connect. Let me just message him real quick. Hold on. We also giving TikTok to promote our live so we can more people can join us.
Uh-huh. I thought about going live on TikTok as well, but yeah, I need to get all that set up.
Right. Well, I guess Paul wrote in the chat on YouTube. I don't know. I cannot see YouTube. I cannot see people that messages or not. So, and I don't want to put him on because if I put him on, we might have sound issues again. So I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're gonna let Paul. We're gonna wait for Paul to see he can join anytime. That's unfortunate. Paul is having connectivity issues. Paul is he's a podcaster. He lives in Argentina. He's also as an English teacher. He moved to Argentina in the 90s, so he has a great information that he could share with us. But anyways, let's just roll. And anyway, we got this idea about doing a collaboration live show. Crystal lives in Mexico. I'm in the U.S. And you know, we all are into social media, talking to people, expats life, and migration, all hot topics right now. So we decided to do this together and, you know, share what we know, what we learn, right? I'm in the U.S. I have over 30 years in the U.S. Krista, you have an amazing journey, right? And you help a bunch of people get to the Mexico or anywhere they want to go because those experiences are similar everywhere. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Crystal.
Yeah, well, I'll just introduce myself here. So, I'm Crystal Brown, and I have been in Mexico for almost a year now. It will be a year in March. Lived in Iowa in the United States my entire life, and lived the normal American dream life. Husband is originally from Puebla, and we've got amazing kids. But we just got to a point after building successful careers and businesses where we're like, wait, we did everything that we were supposed to do, built the careers, bought the house, raised the family. Why does it still feel this way? Like, what's
Right,
next? Like you get to a point where you've done everything and you kind of still feel, not that you're not happy, but a little bit unfulfilled or unsatisfied. And so we knew Mexico was always the plan. We just didn't we decided we didn't want to wait until we were retired to move, and so we pushed the timeline up. And I'll tell you, we've never been happier. Life is so great here. It's definitely been a journey, but it's brought us closer together. Our kids are happier. We're more connected than ever, and it's just really great for our kids to learn their culture and the language and really get a taste of what it feels like outside of the US. So, super happy. And like you said, I do have socials. You can find me at La Vida Unida, and I have an online business. And so I give a lot of advice on how to transition out of the States to move anywhere and how to create online income to support that move. So that's a little bit about me.
That's cool. Lot of experience there. I interviewed you a while back, right? And maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I don't know, but I was very impressed with what I learned from you. First of all, you had you lived executive life, and you were in the executive world, and that you changed everything for the life that you have right now. And I gotta tell you, every time I see you on social media or when I watch some of your videos or even the podcast I had with you, it made me question everything I'm doing. You made me question all the time. But I can call myself a little chicken. I would say I'm a little chicken because I'm not making the move. I'm a little bit jealous, but I can see you generally having a good life because I see you almost every day. You posting something. So man, it's just great, man. My life, when I moved here in the '90s, it wasn't easy because first of all, I don't know if you knew about this, but I moved here. First of all, let me tell you about me a little bit. So we were kidnapped in Argentina. We were. It's called Kidnap Express. I don't know, something about that nature is what it's called. And we were locked in our home with 4 or 5 people, and some of them were police officers, some of them were criminals, and they were also criminal. They were police officers, but anyways, we were there for hours, and then they left and they wiped out our home, took everything we have. It was a very horrible experience, and especially when you're at gunpoint and that kind of stuff. So my dad was, I was in my late, I was about 18 years old, I would say. And then in my early 20s is when my dad said, we're going to leave because it's not safe to be here, that kind of stuff, right? So we left. We come to the U.S. and we got a business visa and we bought a business. And that's where the journey begins. But if you go into another country to open a business without knowing the language or understanding the culture, you're in big trouble. We pay the price for doing that. And then during the recession, 16 years of business that I owned back in Florida, it was gone. It was wiped out. And I walked away, moved from Florida to Utah, started a new life. I didn't have life insurance. I got super sick. I thought I was going to die for about 3 months. I couldn't afford a doctor. I was going to work very ill, and I survived that. So that's kind of the stuff that, you experience when you migrate somewhere and you cannot afford, especially in the U.S., where you cannot afford, you know, um, health services, right? And so I did that, and then I ended up in Louisiana, went back to school, back to school in Utah, and got a career in so computer science and cybersecurity. So that's kind of my that's I kind of making this very short my story of there's a lot more to it, but so talk about yours.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of did the opposite, right? So, I
Right,
mean, you moved countries to have a new lifestyle, right? Not because it was really by choice, but because for your safety. And you've done all the things as well, right? Corporate career. You and I have talked about that a lot.
right,
Built the family, the house. And I feel like there, like you had mentioned, Claudio, there's something inside of you that's like, and you had mentioned this last time we talked.
yeah,
Is this really what I want to be doing with my life? And I think that's very normal. In the United States, we just know it's different, right? We work to live
right,
to work. Not that we're not working in a in Mexico, right? But it's like you work to buy all these things or this nice house or this brand new Lexus. You work for things,
right,
and it's like more and more family is getting lost in the mix of all of that. Your kids are in so many activities, you're on boards, you're doing volunteer events, all the things, and it's like family and your kids, your husband, they come last. And so it's like
right,
like the US dream, and again, I love the United States as my country, but the US dream isn't really what I think it's made out
Paul
to
is
be,
joining
right?
us. Right.
Yeah. Hey, Paul.
Hey,
Welcome,
Paul.
welcome.
No
These
sound,
stories.
Paul.
I did
No.
it.
Oh,
Oh
now we can
man.
hear you. Now we
No.
can hear you. Yeah.
We're just kind of sharing our story, Paul.
Jeez, what a nightmare. It's supposed to be a. Oh, well, sorry. I was. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt like this, but I've been. I started setting up for this at 5. And an hour and 19 minutes later, I was able to log in. It's a third world pitfalls of the third world, I guess. I don't know what happened. I really
It's all
don't know.
right,
I'm
man. We
sorry
have
for
you
my
on, so we're
tardiness.
happy that we happy that we have you on because I know you got some great
Uh,
story to tell. But you
I
were in the
did
video.
it.
Crystal was saying something, so I want you to finish your
Yeah.
statement, Crystal, and then we can let him just
Oh yeah,
introduce
sure. I'm
himself.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries, Paul. We were just sharing our stories, and I was saying that like in the United States, and I know you've been in Argentina for a long time now, but in the United States, it's like you get the career, buy the house, raise the family, you do all the things, and then you get to a point and you've done everything that you were supposed to do, buy the books, and then there's like some feeling inside of you, and I don't know. I say this all the time. Like I always question, and Claudio just mentioned this. I always question the norm, like is this really all that my life was meant to be? And then you get to that point where you're like, oh my gosh, like you can literally create any life that you want. And so that's what I was talking about, how like in the United States, my life was all about things and the nice house and the nice cars and saying yes to everything, boards and volunteer events and my kids in sports. And like at the end of the day, there was no time for my family or my husband. And so we sold everything, like everything. We bought an older truck and put all of our stuff that we wanted to bring in a trailer. And we live very simple here in Mexico, like very humbly. And we've never been happier. And it's just like, I think when you really learn to prioritize what's most important, which for us and my family was time together, life completely changed for us. So Mexico's been a beautiful thing for us.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Paul. So microphone is all yours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I mean, I reflect back on the time when shortly after arriving to Buenos Aires, I used to walk the center city streets, Florida Street, and I was teaching English, hustling from company to company, place to place, and I picked up a book. I was lost, and I picked up a book. It was In Search of the Simple Life, and I read that. And shortly after, I went to Brazil and I traveled around, and I discovered that it's not about the money and the comforts and the standard of living as compared to just the fundamentals of the quality of life
Mm.
and not the standard of life. And I followed that philosophy. And I'm not a millionaire because I don't feel like being a millionaire. That's so that's my philosophy. Just keep it simple, simple. Not simple in the sense of a simpleton, but simple without the major complications that having all sorts of money can bring. I know people that are rich and are miserable.
Mm.
You know, and people that are poor and they're happy. So it all depends. And
Perspective,
what gets you
right?
through the day. And I think it's just doing what you like too.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, doing what you like. I try to tell my kids that too. You
Right.
know. So yeah. But I'm here. You might hear some dogs barking. You might hear some dogs barking. You might hear some motorcycles with no mufflers go by. I'm by the beach in a really simple place called Villa Gesell, where kids play on the street, and they climb trees, and then I don't know, it's real like the country farm, you
Right.
know.
Sounds
I
beautiful.
can go out, I can walk 20 minutes and just stumble, there's cows by the side of the road, like cows, just walking around, cows,
Right.
all these cows. So we I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, so cool. Glad to be here.
That's good,
Yeah.
man. Good to have you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because Paul, uh, he went to Argentina, where I'm from. and I am in United States where he was born, and that's interesting, right? Quite interesting because I think we all in search of something, and that something, what works for Paul, it doesn't work for me, right? So I had a very hard when Paul was having one of his best experiences of life in the '90s, when he was getting all the attention of just being American, in Argentina, that kind of stuff. We were kidnapped, but we were running from Argentina, right? So it's quite
Wow.
interesting because it was tough, and but it also was hard to come to the U.S. First of all, when you watch movies, and I'm gonna tell this to people, like when you watch a movie, you fall in love with the American culture, and I tell people, I tell many Americans, you sell your culture in every movie that you made, and there's you see people everywhere in the country they have a T-shirt of your American band, or they listen to even the radios play American music, and everybody knows some of the most famous movies, or cartoons, or TV shows that play on Americans' household, right? And when you come here, you're in love with that idea. And when you come here, Americans are tired of immigrants and everything that is involved with immigration, and you don't get treated the way you expected you were going to get treated, because you imagine it's going to be like a movie, right? But when you get here, it's not the same. It's like, well, I love America. Why don't I love me, right? But and that's not everybody. But you have to understand both sides, right? Americans don't know. I don't think they're actually aware that they market their culture outside of the United States, and you people want to come here for that reason, right? Every movie, everything is in everywhere, right? And I grew up playing Cowboys and Indians. Why did I not grow up playing Gauchos and Indians, right? Why? Why I was playing Cowboys and Indians, right? Why did I can talk about Daniel Boone or some of those old shows that I used to watch, the Three Stooges, that kind of stuff. Like, well, those are very old shows. Some people that are younger might, I don't even know what that is. Abbott and Costello, another show that I used to watch, right? Very old shows.
Oh yeah.
And uh, I remember going to the movie theater and watch E.T. I was 12 or 13 years old, dancing with Michael Jackson when he was a boom, right? When I was 12 or 13 years old, listening to Eagles. Why I wasn't listening to Argentinian tango or even national music? Not a whole lot. So that tell you that's if you
Yeah.
want to go deep and go back to that perspective, right? Why people came here, and how they are in shock when people they don't get treated the way they thought they were going to get treated, because everybody see Americans as good people, and they're not bad people. It's just this expectation, right? They're burned out with the whole immigration situation. They're burned out, and it's a reality, right? They have racism
Yeah.
that they battled for a long time, and then they had immigration too, right? So the both sides. I understand the side too. So I'm not, a regular person might not have the ability to understand that, especially if they did not never leave the United States.
I think you're right, Claudio. It's really all about
Yeah.
perspective. And
I
so,
just wanted to
actually, yes,
say yeah, that makes sense.
yesterday we went to have tacos, and we have a lot of different friends here, but it was
Yeah.
us. Our older son is
What?
here from Veracruz
Yeah.
connection.
I think Paul
And
is trying to talk, but he has a delay.
sorry, Paul.
Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Christian.
was just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
I think it's
Hey,
about
go ahead.
I think it's just about perspective, right? We talked about how like the American dream, like that's, they promote it all over, right? So like you can be in China, you can be in Argentina, Mexico, wherever, and everybody's learning about the United States and what it's like to live there. And it's this dream, and it seems like everybody wants to come, and then the people that live there feel trapped. But I think honestly, you could live like anywhere that you're born you want like if you're like us, like you're thinking about what it's like somewhere else. And so yesterday we were eating tacos, and we had one of my daughter's friends with us. His family's a missionary family, but they've lived here for 30 years. He was born here, okay, but they're from Australia, like originally from Australia. And he said, "Yeah, I don't want to." He said, "I'm gonna marry a Mexican woman because I want someone that can cook me good Mexican food like what I'm used to." He's like, "But I don't want to stay in Mexico forever." He's like, "There's nothing here for me." And my son has grown up in Veracruz, and he said, "Oh my God, I love it here where we live in this town." He's like, "I love it here. I want to stay here." And I said, "I don't ever want to go back to the United States. Like, I'll go to
Right.
visit, right?" But I think it's just perspective, right? So like you grow up and you live the life that you live, and then you're always curious about what it's like somewhere else, right? And so like you were saying earlier with Paul, like Paul was going and living his best life, and then you're escaping like your worst part of your life. And I feel
Right.
like that could be the same. Like, there's a lot of Americans or people from all over Canada that are fleeing to the or to Mexico to live their dream life. But then you've got the Mexicans or Latinos that have gone to the United States that have built their dream life too, and they're happy there. They
Right.
love it there. They don't want to come back to Mexico.
Right.
Like you see those videos all over TikTok where they're like going back to the United States where we have good Wi-Fi and hot water.
Right.
And it's like, so I think it's all about perspective, for one. And the beauty of it is that we don't have to stay stuck. We don't have to stay stuck. We can make a decision to move to a different country, wherever, and create a better future for us and our family. But then the sad part is what you had just talked about, Claudio. Right now, the United States is in one of its most dangerous times.
Right.
And it's really sad that these people, like my husband, we left before all of this was happening. But like my husband had lived there his entire adult life, and we built a beautiful life together. Like he was happy there. We just, it just wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, I think. So I think it's just all about perspective, when you think about it.
Right. Right. I was listening to this woman. I think I don't know if it was YouTube or TikTok, but she fled the U.S. and she's a refugee in Canada, which that's kind of surprising because I never thought of that. You get a lot of refugees coming here, but now there might be a lot of Americans that are struggling with the whole situation here. Might just go and ask for asylum somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but look, migrating. It's funny because you have the expats right now. You have migration, and this is for everybody. But the difference between migration and expat is just legally everything is a migrant. There's not expat or migration. Legally you're just a migrant. But if you want to call yourself expat, you can be expat. But um,
I think
my
there's a, go ahead.
migration is not an easy journey, especially going to a place where they don't speak. You don't speak the language. You don't understand the culture, right? It took, like I said, when I started my business, not understanding the culture was a big deal, and I lost a lot of money because of it. Or speaking the language, you have to be educated. So you don't have to go and start a business anywhere else, but you can just go somewhere and um, you can go somewhere and get a job, but you're still gonna need the cultural understanding,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we talk about culture a little bit, if you want to talk about that, Crystal,
Sure.
in Argentina, for example, we have physical language, and I learned this going to school. That when you want to do, you might know about this. When you want to do international business, you have to understand the physical culture, not just the language or their culture. There's a physical communication. Um, um, I don't know what is the proper um, term for it, but it's basically physical language, right? So in Argentina, we use the like the Italian. We say, this could be, what are you doing? This could also be, let's go eat, right? Or this could be, what happened, Or sometimes we bite our lips, and biting our lip means like is if we see you doing something, that we feel is stupid, we do this. So if you're Argentina, you know, right? Or we also say ojo, eye, right? This is something we use that means watch out, right? And we do this. But if I do this to an American, like, what is that, right? They don't understand. But there's so much of that, like this little stuff like that you might think is not important. They're absolutely a big deal when you go into another culture, especially when Argentinians give you a kiss in the cheek, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that to a Mexican, for example, or an American, or any other country except maybe you're French or Italian. You might be able to do that, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not a thing. So the way we joke or the way we do things. So what's your perspective on that? That's kind of what I learned.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's funny because we were talking the other day, and in the United States, we're like, come here, come here. But in Mexico, it's like, Ben, Ben, like they go down. And so I was like, I can't
Right,
do it like that. I feel like my arm's going the wrong way.
right, right,
But like in Mexico, it's more of like everybody's walking everywhere, right? They're outside. They're outside. They're enjoying life. It could be, yes, they work during the day, but it's just like families are outside in the centro, at the mercado, eating, shopping, at the plaza, and everybody walks everywhere. So like you go outside and it's like jam packed with all these people and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. But in the
right,
United States, like where I'm from, New York is a little bit different, right? Everybody's outside walking. But like in Iowa, it's just like zoom into work. Get in your car, zoom to work. We don't even want to get out of our cars to go in to get Starbucks in the morning. Like we order it and go through the drive-through, and it's ready by the time we get there. Or we order our
right,
groceries and they're delivered to our house. And so
right,
it's like, and like I'd said earlier, Mexico is so family driven, like neighbor, like it's just about time spent with others. And in the United States, I feel like the longer time passes, the less time. Like it used to be where somebody would just stop over your house just to say hi, hey, I just came over to stop by. And now it's like you got to get on someone's calendar to make time to go visit them. You know what I mean? Or
right,
you get together for maybe like Christmas and then you don't see each other the rest of the year. So it's just, I think that there's a huge difference between the United States and Mexico when it comes to the physical culture. I think body and fitness, like in the United States, like everybody wants to be fit, and there's all these different like these different, I guess, trends or like diets
yeah,
even, and then and I don't think it's like more. I don't think Mexico is really there yet, but I think they're getting there. So like here, there's a million gyms, right? But I don't think it's always been that way. It's like let me get some tacos, some tamales.
right.
So, but I think Mexico's catching up. So yeah, I do. There are differences, right? And it's important that you start to learn that no matter where you're going to be.
Right. Good. And like, I don't know how it's Christmas in Mexico, right? But in Argentina, the Christmas is loud. So let me tell you this is a very small difference in between country, but when you're living in a country that is not yours, it could be insulting. It could be a big deal, right? And we don't think about this stuff. But in Argentina, for example, for Christmas, we dance, we play music very loud. We're very loud. And especially you
Hmm.
have a big family, we're loud as hell. And it's just,
Yeah.
annoying. And then we also open our gift after midnight. We don't open it in the morning. So imagine like it's midnight, everybody start, you know, continue drinking, eating after midnight and opening the present. Then you have all the kids that want to play whatever you gave them for Christmas. And now it's 2, 3 in the morning. You're still out with all the kids and crying and all this thing. But in the United States for Christmas is like people are playing piano or Christmas music or whatever luxury you have. It could be piano, whatever. But um, it's just quiet. It's a moment of
Hmm.
peace, and the 24th they celebrate very quietly, and then the 25th is Christmas for them. The real Christmas. They open the present in the morning,
Hmm.
usually after breakfast or having during breakfast. But if you are an Spanish person or someone with similar culture in Argentina and the United States, and you bring an American to your house, that could be pretty annoying to them. Absolutely
Mm-hmm.
annoying, and probably would not be a good experience for them. And I know also by a lot of expat or immigrants that live in Argentina, they struggle with that idea of being loud during Christmas. New Year's a different story because New Year they don't care. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those differences are a big deal if you don't understand it, and if you want to give someone a good impression, you got to learn the culture. You got to understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And getting educated when you migrate somewhere.
And I think it's important that you educate yourself before, honestly, before
Right.
you just get up and move, because we hear horror stories, right? Like you just shared, like there's a lot of expats in Argentina that, get annoyed by certain things. And you hear horror stories here as well. Like expats come here, they disrespect the people and the culture. And it's like,
Right.
before you just up and move to a different country, do your research, do your education, go and visit, make sure you have a good understanding of the culture, what it's going to be like to live there. You've learned, some basic form of the language. And, I think that, the worst thing that can happen is for you to move and then just, and I'm not saying that you have to adapt, right? I'm not saying like maybe you don't want to go hang out on New Year's Eve with some family, right? Maybe you do want to stay at home and be quiet, but you're going to have to understand that it's not quiet. Not here in Mexico either. I mean, they celebrated. I think we still got people with Christmas trees and lights up outside. I'm
That's
like, this
funny.
was the longest Christmas season I've ever celebrated.
Right.
And my family, my mom's actually half Mexican. My family's originally from Michoacan, but they were all kind of migrated to Chicago, raised in Chicago. My grandpa was full Mexican, and so when we were growing up, we did celebrate Christmas Eve.
Right.
And the Tios and the Tias, like they danced and sang and hung out and drank and ate.
Right.
I think my mom and them did open their presents at midnight. So we've always done that. Um, but then it was funny because then we'd go to the American family side on Christmas Day, and I'll tell you, Claudio, it was boring.
Right. Right.
Turkey and quiet time in our
Right.
pajamas, and I'm like, it was kind of boring compared to our
Right.
Mexican side of the family.
Right. Right. So look, I like some things about American Christmas. So first of all, opening gift at midnight for kids, I think is crazy. Kids
Yeah.
should be in bed, open them in the morning. So you can actually get the best out of every culture, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
you still gotta have a quiet Christmas? You don't have to, right? But the one thing I will say, don't open gift for kids at midnight. Let them go to bed and open them in the morning, right? Just let the
Mm-hmm.
adults, spend some time, have a few drinks, and have fun. Uh, but no, man, there's so much to learn about going somewhere and getting educated before you go. Is the best. Learn the law, because I remember I went to a restaurant in Florida. I was new to the U.S. and I went to pay and then I left, and I didn't leave any tip because in Argentina tip is not mandatory. And the waiter came to me and said, "Well, you didn't like my service." First of all, my English was really bad back then, and I couldn't understand what was going on. I was confused, and then I learned that tips is basically mandatory. Those little things, um, they're it might seem like it's a small thing, but they're not. They're significant, but they can put you in a very bad situation. Hey, Paul,
Hi, Paul. Welcome back.
Hey, what's the?
when
Yeah,
you when you
sorry,
closer to the
I
camera, when
decided
you
to
closer
give
to
up
the
on the.
camera, we can see you good.
Yeah, sorry, I had to disconnect from my computer and I'm using my phone. Can you hear me okay? Can you see me
Yeah,
okay?
we can hear you good
Yeah.
now.
All right, great. Yeah, I'm using my phone. I gave up on my computer. The pitfalls of this modern technology.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking while you were talking and I was trying to connect. What kind of things? I mean, do you are your households bilingual? For example, Claudia, you speak Spanish at home? Is your wife, your partner,
So,
American?
no, my wife
And
is you. My wife is Ukrainian,
Uh-huh.
so we
And
have
what do you speak at
we
home? Ukrainian?
we speak English. No, no, I mean I can barely speak English, man. Imagine learning, learning Ukrainian. I mean, I'm trying. Don't get me wrong, but man, I'm trying to learn Ukrainian. I've been using Duolingo, but my daughter's just picking up Spanish and Ukrainian and English. Sometimes we don't even know what we speak at home. My dog is confused all the time. Uh, yeah, it's confusing, but yeah, we have a mixed culture uh, relationship, family.
Love that. We speak a lot of Spanglish over here. I wouldn't even know what to
Uh-huh.
call Spanish. Spanish is it? What's the language for you? Ukrainian? Like what is that language? I don't even know.
It's Ukrainian. Yes,
Ukrainian.
Ukrainian.
So like I don't even know what Spanish and you Spankanian. I don't know, but we speak a lot of
Right.
Spanglish. We speak a lot of Spanglish. Like my husband's always speaking in Spanish. Sometimes he'll speak in English. I'll speak in Spanish, but it's not perfect yet. Our kids. So our daughter, she is like the slowest to learn. She's going to get mad at me for saying that, but she's the slowest to learn. She's 17 and she's really shy. Like she won't push herself out of her comfort zone. Like she's
Right.
just taking a little bit longer. Our two little kids are almost fluent in Spanish now. And then my son, he's always lived in Mexico. He's been here the last month and a half, and so he speaks Spanish. So, like, he actually, since he's been here, we've all spoken more Spanish in the home, which is an amazing thing. I'm like, you're gonna have to just move in with us from now on. Like, you're not going, you're not leaving. So, but so it's leaning more toward. It was all English when we first moved, but now it's leaning more towards all Spanish, which I love.
Right. No, that's cool. I mean, there's a beauty behind these mixed cultural families. Not all, it's not perfect, but there's some beauty to it, and I enjoy a lot of it.
What
Paul,
about you,
wait,
Paul?
Well, my kids, we always spoke both languages at home. Uh, do and grew up speaking both.
having delay with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're talking, Paul, but we can now hear you, and your image is frozen right now. So, um, anyways, yeah, man. But let me tell you, something that what I recommend people is to leave their comfort zone, leave their country, right? The reason why me and you can talk about what we're talking about because we made that step to get out of our comfort zone and try new things and see the world, right? So, I mean, for you leaving the U.S., when most people want to come to the U.S., it's not a easy decision. Wasn't an easy decision, but you did it, and now you can talk by your own experience, and you know everything you know, and you're more powerful right now because of what you learned. And
Mm-hmm.
the same with me. Like I experienced traveling the world. Even when I married my wife, people were scaring me about they scared me about not going to try to scare me about not going to Ukraine. And I that was my first time traveling alone, and it was a good experience. Like I went to a country that I did not speak the language, right? And everybody looks the same. To be honest with you, I was like, there's not a lot of diversity in Ukraine, so I was like, everybody looks the same. And I'm walking over there, people are looking at me, and like, my wife's gonna get upset. There's some diversity there, but it's not like the U.S. or other places, right? My
Yeah.
wife's just gonna be, you say this on the podcast, like, I know that there's diversity, but not as much as here. But anyways, that might get me in trouble later. But anyways, but I remember going in there. It's just everything new, but looking at the infrastructure of the country, and observing them how they dress up, how they talk, how they do things. It was just beauty behind that. It was so interesting for me, right? Like I was so attracted to that, and and it felt like I was like in some sort of movie on some sort of dimension. Like Paul say the word dimension multiple times in the past when I talked to him. Like, and I like that. I enjoy it, you know, and I really enjoy it. And me being in the U.S. right now, uh, you know, I accomplished everything I ever wanted. I said I met my goals, but right now, what's next? You know, that a lot of the stuff, the sacred stuff. What's next? And I want more of that. Like even Argentina, I don't think I know everything I'm supposed to know about Argentina. And I never been in Mexico. I've been at the airport one time, but that's about it. There's so many things I need to know that I wanna do next in my life. But
Hmm.
you know, get out of your comfort zone and go see the world. Just do your
Yeah.
homework, be get educated, so you respect people because not everybody is the same food you eat. Not everybody speak the same way you speak. Not everybody has the same physical language that you do. You gotta learn all that stuff.
Hmm.
Paul, you gonna be able to talk or
Yeah. How old are your kids?
who are you asking? Me or
What age are
Crystal?
your? Both of you. Both of you.
You can go, Crystal. You
Both
can
of
go
you.
ahead. I was just talking a lot.
I have a whole
What
range
age
of
group?
kids. We've got a whole big family. My oldest is 26, and we're actually grandparents. Our second is
20,
20.
20, 20.
Oldest oldest is 26, who made us a grandparents, and then my second daughter is 22. She's a senior at college, plays softball down in Florida. Then we have a 20-year-old son. Then we have a 17-year-old daughter. Then we have a 14-year-old son, and then nine, and then our youngest 9-year-old
I'm
son, and
sorry.
then
I'm sorry.
our youngest little girl is 5. So ranging from 26 to 5 years old, we have 7 kids, and I love it. I honestly love it. I love our big happy family. Our kids are so close. The older kids have such great relationships with our younger kids, and honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. So, I mean, there's families that are like, I can only handle one, and that's great. That's perfect for you. But our family, oh, I don't know. I'm a proud mama. I'm a proud wife, and I love them, and it's just a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, and it's even better that you feel that way, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I have Paul is gone, so he might ask this question again. I don't know, but I have 3 adult children, right? They're from 24 to 30 years old, and then I remarry. I got divorced, remarry, and then you know I have a 5-year-old right now, so I started all over again.
So you know what it feels like. You
Oh,
know what it.
I know
Yeah.
what it feels like. Yeah, and I
Well,
love her. She keep me on my toes, man. She keep me on my toes. Let me tell you.
Well, they say having kids when you're older, so like I was a young mom and then now I'm an older mom, it makes us stay younger longer, right? Because they keep us on our toes. And so I'm not going to lie, right? Like sometimes I'm feeling a little bit cuckoo, like I'm feeling like crazy, like, but honestly, I could not imagine my life without them. Like, what would I do? I would be, do you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy
Right,
it. And I think God created this life with me. So, yeah.
right.
There's Paul. Hey, Paul.
Yes, Paul. Paul, we don't
He
see
asks,
you.
us a question and then boom, he's gone. So he's
I
going to have to
know,
watch the replay.
I know. Well, it's good because you know he comes in and you know pop a question, then you know let us talk a little bit about that too. So,
Yeah.
but
Hey, so I've got the YouTube up and I'm seeing comments on here. And I
yeah,
don't know. I know this is our first podcast. And I don't know if we want to maybe ask, if anyone in the audience has questions. Are there any like topics that they want more information on, want us to speak on? But if so, like we could have them drop it in the chat. And
yes,
then
yeah. I cannot see the chat unfortunately, and as you said, we're new with this, and I'm learning. So I am not a podcaster or no podcast tools. I'm learning all this stuff. I'm a technology person, but yeah, if you can message over there, I'm afraid of,
yeah.
you know, turning it on right now because we got that microphone issue early today. I don't know if it was the YouTube channel that caused the problem or not, but yeah, go ahead and
Yeah.
feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, Blas Vico said greetings from Spain, and then she also recommended. Um, she said about because we were talking about how money's not everything, right? She said she watched a nice movie recently that explained that dynamic very well, and it's called Good Fortune, and she recommends that. But yeah, to anybody in our audience, if you guys, if there's any questions that you have for us, any topics that you would like us to speak
Yeah.
on, please drop those in the comments. We would love to just dive into supporting you. So yeah, anything that you want to know or anything you want us to touch on, don't be shy. Go ahead and drop it in the comments,
Yes, go ahead. Um,
and we can plan some podcasts around it.
right. Anyway, so you want to talk about the corporate world?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Would love to. So, spent 25 plus years in the corporate world. Started actually in public transit and customer service, and then worked my way up, and then went over to the financial industry world. And um, it was great. Like, I loved it. I loved my career. I feel like I grew up in that corporate world. I have so much experience. I've learned so much. I've had so many opportunities. I've served on boards. I've been volunteer director, just like all these things. Um, but and while I'm so grateful for the leaders and just the experience, I remember sitting around a table, and here I am with the always questioning the norm. Like, I remember sitting around the table in meetings just thinking, like, I don't belong here, and I'm not sure that I want to belong here. But I kept going. I kept climbing the ladder, and here I am coaching and mentoring people all over the Midwest, and just, um, it was great. But again, I just couldn't see spending the rest of my life choosing a job that literally, like, as a leader, because I was a leader, I was a manager, my phone would ring from first thing in the morning, it'd ring late at night, we'd be at the dinner table, and my husband's like, wow, they're texting again, and I'm like, or I'd have, extracurricular events after work, and it was just like, go, go, go.
I think that's probably. I'm gonna mute Paul if I can.
Still
Maybe Paul.
echoing.
Yeah. Can you see me?
Still echoing.
I think
Yeah,
the
I was
echo comes
watching. I
from
was.
you,
I
Paul.
was. I was listening. I was listening. But I turned off my camera because I don't know. My summer people just flock here. This Claudio Villa Gesell is popular as a family destination, and the infrastructure is very precarious, and so I guess just everyone just sucks up the Wi-Fi, which reminds me of I wanted to ask you some words that we grew up not knowing. For example, the word app, an app. We had no idea what an app was. In this technological and digital world, so many words like Wi-Fi. Could you imagine going back to 1975 and what? You know, and
Right.
I was just thinking of that.
Yeah.
So
I
many
mean,
concepts.
I think your sound is too loud, Paul, so we hear an echo.
Yeah, I hear an echo too.
So, anyways, I don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
it.
because I'm in another dimension. You mentioned ET. You mentioned ET and trying to replicate the lives of those that you saw on television, like ET. And who you said also someone from Mexico, El Chapulín Colorado,
Oh, yeah,
Zorro,
right. I thought
but you
the
chose the
Zorro.
U.S.
I thought the Zorro was a Spaniard, not Mexican, was it?
I think Zorro is
Wasn't it
from.
filmed in Mexico though? El Zorro.
I think it's Spaniard, not Mexican. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I think it's Zorro was it was based in Mexico, wasn't it? El Zorro,
Boy,
the
now.
Zorro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was based in Mexico. Because they didn't have a Spanish accent. They didn't say pues tío.
Right, right.
You
Um,
know.
we were talking about the
So
corporate. We were talking about the corporate world, Paul. That's something we were going to dive in. But if you want, you can talk about you a little bit. If we can hear you, maybe um, if you turn off the video, it might you can just talk. It might be better. You might have a better communication. Um, but you can try to talk about yourself because people probably want to know who you are.
well, I'm a Gemini, so you'll probably hear this twice, 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 twice. Uh you said there's an echo.
Yes.
I'm originally from Philly, from South Philly. I grew up with an attitude. I used to sell soft pretzels in the summer, and I used to shovel snow for $3 the regular sidewalk and $5 if it was a whole corner. I used to shovel snow, carry my rock salt. I worked in construction.
I
Oh,
think
I
Paul
think
is, we miss Paul again. Well,
uh-huh.
I think I don't know. We're gonna be able to have Paul for the whole podcast, but we can go back to the corporate world and uh, where you left off, Crystal. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, I think I was just saying that I loved my career. I was grateful for the experience, for the leaders that I had. I mean, I had a really great leader that kind of helped bring me out of my shell, and I was grateful for it. But I remember, again, the same as in life, like you get to a certain point and you're like, okay, I've done everything I can do in my career,
Right.
but with the added stress, the higher you climb, the added stress, and then the extra, because in the corporate world, it's not just go to work. Like there are networking events, there are things that you do outside of the, out work hours. And so, like with that, it was like less time with my family, less time with my kids, or I was coming home and I was like burnout and I was tired and I was grumpy, and then I had to take them to sports and cook dinner, and like we had our businesses. My husband would get home after dark, and I just remember thinking again, like, yes, I've done it. I've made it. I'm a success. Like I had that level that honestly I never thought I'd have, right? Because you're like, but again, every day when I got up and I looked in the mirror, I was like, God, I know there has to be more to life than this. And so, yeah, I mean, I just knew that I wasn't going to do that for the rest of my life. And I was going to find a way out. Not because I hated it, but I hated not having enough time with my family and my kids.
Well, I don't think if you never experienced that kind of life, I don't think people understand how hard it is to maintain that kind of life. It's not that people hate it; you get tired of it.
Yeah.
Like one thing is like I think there's three stages when if you want to be someone in your life, your first stage is when you're getting educated about something, right? And then the second phase of it is when you're trying to make it happen, and the third phase, third stage is you're already there. So every part is hard. First of all, you try to get educated, right? You want to learn. Paul is back. You try to learn, right? And then you're in the middle of making it happen, which is really really hard. And then I said, man, when am I gonna make it? When am I gonna be in the corporate world? And then you finally do. But then you start, you know, um, uh, having fun. You made it. You're making good money. You're buying stuff, getting fancy trips, and that kind of stuff. And the problem with that is like everything you buy, everything you do, the fancy trips, all this stuff, you got to maintain that. You got to maintain that, and and then you start you're going and you have 1 year, 2 years in the corporate world, 3 years, and you meet all these people, and things start getting old. You start
Yeah.
getting old, and then you don't know how to get out because then you're afraid of not having your toys, expensive trips. What are you gonna do? Because getting out of the corporate world means you're gonna take a big cut on your paycheck, massive,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
you want what you have right now, Crystal, but people that are like, how am I gonna be okay to be, once you walk away from something, it's not that you can just get back to it that easy, because once you off the market and you're not staying on top of everything that's going on, getting back at it again, especially you older, it's not like it's a big chance, it's a big card you're playing. Because in my case, I'm 53 years old, and I'm walking out of the corporate world, and then I find out 4 or 5 years later this is not what I wanted. Run out of money. I want to get back at it. How I'm gonna do that? I'm too
Yeah.
old, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's definitely something you want to plan, right?
right,
Because it can be scary. But I'll tell you what, Claudio, I have never felt so free, not worrying about a car payment or a Louis Vuitton bag or what shirt I'm going to put on. Like, it is freeing. I'll tell you. I told my husband, he always told me he was going to move me to Mexico and take the weight of the world off my shoulders. And I have not slept better in the last 25 years than I sleep now. And no one cares what brand shirt I have on, if I've got the nice new purse. You know what I mean?
right,
That
right,
in itself is freeing. You know what I mean? That's
right,
freeing. And so, we had all the toys too. We had
yeah,
custom built truck, I had a Lexus, we had boat, camper, like vacations, like all the things. But it's still, and we enjoyed them. We enjoyed it, but
right,
and I never thought I'd be able to live without those things, but I'll tell you, like, it is absolutely rejuvenating and so freeing to just let it all go
right,
and know that, like, oh my gosh, like, I couldn't figure out what I was missing my entire life. I guess that's what
right,
it was. Like, I couldn't figure out what I was missing. And so I was like, okay, let's buy this. Let's go here. Let's do this. I want to, but what I was missing was that freedom to, like, actually live life on my own terms and to prioritize my health,
right,
to prioritize being a mom and a wife. I feel like I'm not going to say life is perfect, right? You're going to have your things anywhere you go, anywhere you live, but like my biggest worry here is like, oh gosh, what fruteria am I going to go to find the best mandarins? You know what I mean? So it's
right,
not
right,
it's just different. And I'm grateful to my life in the United States. I grew up there. I'm grateful, but I would choose Mexico 1,000 times over. I really
right.
would.
Well, the reason why you can choose Mexico because you went through all the experiences, right? So, I
Mhm.
mean, you have to be grateful for your experiences. Like, if I
Mhm.
leave the U.S. right now, I would never know if I really want to leave the U.S. if I didn't spend more than half of my life here. So you
Mhm.
need to have experiences. You cannot make determinations based on, you know, you know, a book or something. You gotta have life, real experiences. And
Mhm.
as an immigrant, making it to the corporate world is not easy because you're competing with local people. And when you go into another country, uh, you're not gonna be the top candidate. They're always gonna choose local people over you, unless you exceed in what you do. You have to be the best, right? So
Mhm.
if you look at immigration in all countries, most of them are working in the service industry.
Mhm.
Most of the jobs, because if you go to look, I went to Europe, and when you go to Europe, you see immigrants. Immigrants are everywhere, including in Argentina, including in Mexico. You see a bunch of immigrants in Mexico that work in the service industry, and there's people don't want to do that kind of job. And
Mhm.
so if you want to go to any country, United States, Mexico, or Europe, and you want to climb the ladder like a local, you had to compete with them, and that's really really tough, really really hard. So it's not impossible, but it is possible. But there's a cost to it. Your health, your your life. I mean, I'm divorced, right? And that's all a product of my sacrifice to have a career being the corporate world, right? I'm not saying that maybe divorce wouldn't happen regardless, but my determination to be someone did not help. Absolutely.
Yeah. You had to work twice as hard,
Right.
right? And then honestly, then you kind of question, is this, was it worth it, right? And yes, the experiences was it was worth it, right? And what you learned. But I think it's going to be even more challenging now that they did away with DEI. I mean, I remember like when we would hire people, like we wanted to hire people from different backgrounds, from different places, and now
Right.
it's like there's no support there. Like they're not prioritizing that. And so, yeah.
Right. Right. Well, Paul, you're back on the game, so I don't know if you're going to be able to say anything. I think we probably have maybe 20 minutes of you on the whole podcast. If you're mute, Paul, I'm going to try to unmute. Okay. Talk now.
Yeah, it's yeah. Hold on. I don't know why this is. It's been recording off my phone, so we're having like seriously technical. I'm having really serious technical difficulties, and I apologize. But it's interesting to share these
It's our
Well,
first podcast.
it's a fair
experiences.
podcast. We definitely want Paul's story and share his knowledge. We do more. This is our first one, so we have a lot more to share. We just shared a little bit today. I'm sorry if it was a little bit disorganized, but we had some technical issues. But we'll do better next time. I think we already have, what is it, an hour, a little over an hour, pretty much ready to wrap up. What do you think, Crystal?
Yeah, yeah. Just want to remind everyone, feel free to drop in the comments
Right.
if there's any topics that you want us to
Yeah,
talk
it's
about, or any questions for us. We'll be happy to talk about that on our upcoming podcast. So, but no, I just want to thank everybody for joining for our first podcast, and we hope you come back. We're kind of getting all the technical issues out of the way. But yeah, I think we'll keep you up to date when we're going to do our next podcast. But thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thanks.